Hearts in the Spotlight by Tembeka Angel Ganonda.
Chapter 1. The arena thundered with applause, a living heartbeat of lights, screams, and flashing cameras. The crowd chanted his name, Jace. Jace. Jace, ***, but his heart thudded against his ribs for an entirely different reason. Not he stood under the spotlight, bathed in gold, the Lifetime Achievement Award cool and heavy in his hand. At 28, Jace Carter had lived several lifetimes. Child star. Troubled teen. Global icon. Tabloid tragedy. And now, redemption story. Thank you, he said, the microphone catching the grit in his voice. This means more than you know. The audience roared. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. From the edge of the stage, Harper Evens beamed at him, elegant in a sleek ivory gown. She clapped with grace, her pride visible. Jace's eyes softened when they met hers, his wife, his constant. The one who stayed when the world spun too fast, but just beyond Harper, 3 rows in, sat a shadow from his past, ***, Luna Marais, ***. Jace's breath caught. It had been years since he'd seen her in person, not a filtered picture, not a headline, not a flash of her voice in a song, but her. Real, radiant, still carrying that quiet storm inside her. Their eyes met for only a moment, but it was enough. Time folded. He was 19 again, high on love and danger, whispering lyrics to her in the back of a tour bus. He was 21, shattering beneath the weight of addiction and expectation, pushing her away with trembling hands. He was 24, married to someone else, still wondering if a part of him had stayed with her. I used to think music was all I had, he continued, voice steadying. But love showed me who I really was. And breaking showed me who I could become. The crowd rose to their feet. Cheers echoed. Flashbulbs popped. Harper reached for his hand. As he stepped down, he held it tightly, maybe a little too tightly, as if grounding himself in the present. Her smile was practiced, perfect. But he felt the tension in her fingers. Backstage, he barely heard the praise, the congratulations, the echo of his name, because in his mind, Luna's face lingered, the way she hadn't clapped, hadn't flinched, hadn't smiled. She just watched, and that said everything. In the limo, Harper finally spoke. She looked beautiful tonight. Jace didn't ask who she meant. He looked out the window, city lights blurring like old memories. She always does, he murmured. Silence settled between them, not angry, just familiar. The car slid into the night. Jace clutched his award tighter. The world thought the story was over. But something had shifted tonight. A door creaked open that he thought had long been locked, and Luna was standing on the other side. Chapter 2. The hotel room was quiet, save for the low hum of the city outside. Jace sat on the edge of the bed, award still clutched in one hand. His fingers tapping against the golden plaque like a nervous beat. He hadn't spoken much since the ceremony. Neither had Harper. She moved gracefully around the room, taking off her earrings, placing them neatly into a velvet box. Her movements were calm, too calm. Like she was rehearsing peace. She didn't clap, Harper said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Jace looked up. What? Luna. She was watching you the whole time, but she didn't clap. He rubbed his face, suddenly exhausted. I noticed. Harper turned to face him, arms crossed. Do you still love her? The question hung in the air like smoke. It wasn't angry. It was something worse, honest. I don't know, Jace said, after a beat. I love you. That's not the problem. Harper's jaw tensed. But it is a problem. Because love shouldn't feel like a comparison. Jace stood, walked to the window, and stared at the city skyline. It was a view millions would kill for. And yet, all he could think of was the rooftop where he and Luna used to sneak away, just 2 kids hiding from the world, singing songs that hadn't yet been written. Years earlier. The rooftop was lit by fairy lights and the glow of the city. Luna sat cross-legged on an old blanket, strumming her guitar while Jace scribbled lyrics on a crumpled napkin. I'm serious, she said between laughs. That line's cheesy. It's romantic, he argued. It's cringe, she teased, nudging him with her bare foot that he threw the napkin at her and she caught it, folded it carefully, and tucked it into her jacket. I'm keeping this, she said. One day. You'll be too famous for napkins and rooftops. He looked at her, the city lights reflected in her eyes. Never for you. Asterisk asterisk now asterisk asterisk Jace leaned his forehead against the cool glass. The memory burned, vivid and painful. He hadn't thought about that night in years, but seeing Luna again had unlocked something. Not just love, history. Behind him, Harper sat down. Her voice softer. I knew what I was walking into, Jace. I just thought maybe love would be enough. He turned to face her. It is. But it's not the same kind, is it? He didn't answer. He couldn't, because somewhere inside him, the napkin still existed. Crumpled, yellowing, maybe torn, but not forgotten. In another part of the city, Luna sat alone on her hotel balcony, glass of wine in hand, the sound of traffic below. Her phone buzzed, a text from her manager, asterisk asterisk great buzz after tonight. Trending. Want to post something? She stared at the message, then locked her phone and placed it face down. Some stories didn't need more noise. They just needed silence, and space to grieve what could have been, but she knew the silence wouldn't last long. The past was awake now. And it had a pulse. Asterisk chapter 3, rain tapped gently against the tall windows of the penthouse, the kind of rhythmic lull that usually soothed Harper Evens. But tonight, it grated on her nerves. The suite smelled of roses and leftover room service, a strange blend of celebration and something that felt like mourning. Jace was still in the bedroom, lying on top of the covers, one arm flung over his eyes. Harper had changed out of her gown into an oversized sweater, her bare legs curled beneath her on the velvet couch. She'd stared at the same fireplace for almost half an hour, not quite watching it, not quite thinking, just feeling up. Finally, she spoke. Do you remember our vows? Jace didn't move.
Yeah.
She waited. When he didn't say more, she stood and walked to the doorway, leaning against it. I do. You said you wanted to build a life you didn't want to escape from. That I was your home. Your safe place. I meant it, he said, voice low, almost pained. I believe you did, she replied. I just wonder if maybe you still need a safe place because your heart never stopped running. Jace sat up slowly, his hair a tousled mess, eyes dark with exhaustion. I'm not running. Harper gave a sad smile. No, you're not. You're stuck between what was and what is. And maybe you love me. Maybe you love her, too. But one of us is going to lose. He stood, closing the distance between them. You won't lose me. But I already am, Jace, she whispered. He reached out, but she stepped back. This isn't just about Luna, she added. It's about you. You never really forgave yourself for how it ended. You moved on without closure. And I've spent years trying to fill in the blanks. Jace looked away. She was right. He hadn't reached out. He hadn't written. He'd buried it, thinking the silence meant healing. But now the past had cracked open, and everything he thought he buried was breathing again. You once told me love is a choice, Harper said. So choose. Not out of guilt. Not out of comfort. But because you can't not choose me. She left him standing there, the fire behind her flickering like the edge of something burning out. Hours later, Jace wandered into his home studio. Needing something, anything, to anchor him. He sat at the piano and let his fingers find the keys. A melody poured out, haunting and hesitant. He didn't think, he just played. And when he opened his mouth, the first words came softly. Asterisk, she watched from the crowd, like a ghost in gold. Asterisk, the song wrote itself. It was about Luna. About Harper. About himself, and when he finished, his hands trembled. Not from fear, but from knowing whatever came next would break someone, and maybe it would break him too. Chapter 4, the interview. The studio lights were warm, almost too warm, as Luna Marais settled into the velvet chair across from the host. Cameras adjusted. A makeup artist gave her cheek a final dusting of powder. The producer counted down silently. From behind the camera, 3, 2, 1, welcome back to Unfiltered, the host said with a practiced smile. Tonight, we're joined by the incomparable Luna Marais, singer, actress, and survivor of the spotlight. Luna smiled politely. Her fingers were laced together in her lap, her gold rings glinting under the lights. She'd done dozens of interviews before, but tonight felt different. "Raw, thank you for having me," she said smoothly. The host leaned in. "You've been quiet these last few years. But your reappearance at the awards show, front row, no less, has everyone talking. Are you ready to talk, too?" Luna's jaw tightened just enough for the cameras to miss it. "I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk about the present, who I am now." The host nodded, but didn't back off. "Fair enough. But you've said before that heartbreak shaped your music. Your fans believe your best songs were written during your most painful moments. Do you agree?" Luna took a breath. "I think pain is a mirror. It shows you the parts of yourself you tried to hide. But healing is what makes you brave enough to sing about it." It wasn't a name, but it was a message. Across the city, Jace sat in his home studio, watching the interview unfold on a muted screen. The TV glowed in the dim room, the volume turned down low, but her presence filled the space like she was sitting beside him. Harper walked in silently, holding 2 mugs of tea. She noticed Luna's face on the screen and paused. "You're watching her." Jace didn't flinch. "She's not talking about me." "No. But she doesn't have to." Harper handed him a mug, then sat down across from him. She watched Luna too, her eyes unreadable. "She's changed," Harper said finally. "She's stronger now." Jace nodded. "She always was. I just didn't see it." Harper looked down into her tea. "You still feel something for her." He didn't deny it. "But that doesn't mean I don't love you," he said quietly. Harper looked at him, really looked. "Maybe that's the problem." Back at the studio, the host wrapped up. "One last question, Luna, if you could say one thing to someone who broke your heart, what would it be?" Luna hesitated, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then she smiled softly and said, "Thank you for reminding me I could survive without you." The audience clapped. Off camera, Luna's smile faded. The truth wasn't in what she said, it was in what she didn't say, because survival didn't mean it didn't still ache, and letting go wasn't the same as forgetting. Chapter 5, the storm came suddenly, as if the sky had grown tired of holding itself together. Jace didn't bother with an umbrella. He walked through the downpour, hoodie pulled up, hands in his pockets, shoes soaked. The cold didn't bite, it grounded him. Reminded him he was still here. Still real. He wasn't sure why he came. Only that he had to. The cafe hadn't changed. Same chipped red door, same ivy climbing the brick, same quiet glow from within. It was where he and Luna used to come after late rehearsals, before they were anyone, when they still believed fame wouldn't cost them everything. He stood outside for a moment, letting the rain cling to his lashes, then he saw her. Through the window, Luna sat at the corner table. Alone. A steaming cup in front of her, her phone untouched beside it. She looked peaceful. Older, but not worn. Softer, but not small. There was a kind of grace about her now, the kind that only comes after being broken and rebuilt. Their eyes met through the glass. She didn't look surprised. He stepped inside, dripping and breathless.
She didn't rise, didn't speak. She simply gestured to the seat across from her, an invitation heavy with history. Saturday silence wrapped around them. Not awkward. Not hostile. Just familiar. You watched the interview, she said after a long pause. He nodded. I've watched it 3 times. Luna gave a small smile. Then you know I meant it. I do, he said, eyes fixed on hers. And I needed to hear it. She stirred her tea. So why are you here, Jace? He opened his mouth, then closed it. He didn't know how to answer that without sounding selfish. I don't want to rewrite the past, he said finally. I just needed you to know. I never stopped caring. Even when I left. Even when I stayed gone. Luna looked down, then out the window at the street slick with rain. You hurt me. I know. But I don't hate you. That hit harder than any accusation. He leaned forward. I never wanted to be the man who broke you. She met his gaze. You weren't the man who broke me, Jace. You were the boy who didn't know how to stay. The words sank deep. Honest. Not cruel. Luna sipped her tea, then set it down gently. I've rebuilt my life. Piece by piece. It's quieter now. But it's mine. Jace swallowed. And Harper? She deserves all of you, Luna said softly. Not the part that wonders what if. Outside, thunder rumbled low in the distance. I'm not here to start again, Jace whispered. I just needed to say goodbye the right way. Luna nodded, her eyes shining. Then say it. He stood slowly. Goodbye, Luna. She smiled, soft and sad. Goodbye, Jace. He left the cafe and stepped into the rain, lighter somehow. The past hadn't disappeared, but it had finally let go. Chapter 6. The house was quiet when Jace returned. The kind of quiet that didn't come from peace, but waiting. Harper was in the kitchen, barefoot in leggings and a sweatshirt, her hair tied up, sleeves pushed past her elbows. She was stirring something on the stove, the smell of rosemary and garlic filling the space. Comfort food. She didn't look up when he entered. I saw the rain, she said. Figured you'd come back soaked. I went to see her, he said simply. Harper paused, then turned off the burner and placed the spoon down. I know. He stepped into the room, heart in his throat. She didn't ask me to stay. She told me to choose you. Harper finally looked at him. Her eyes weren't angry, just tired. And is that what you're doing? Choosing me because she told you to? No, he said, walking closer. I'm choosing you because I love you. Because I want to be the man you believed I was when you married me. And because love, he paused, swallowing hard. Love demands truth. Even when it hurts. She leaned against the counter, arms folded. So tell me the truth, Jace. All of it. He nodded. I loved her. Deeply. The kind of love that burns too fast and leaves ashes everywhere. And for a long time, I didn't know how to love differently. Harper's voice softened. And now? Now, I want the kind of love that stays. That chooses again and again. That holds steady when the world tilts. He took her hand. That's what you are to me. She looked down at their hands. His were calloused from years of piano, guitar, performing. Hers were warm, grounded. They'd been through so much, tabloids, therapy, rumors, the years of infertility, the quiet breakdowns no one saw. Harper whispered, I don't need a perfect husband. I just need a present one. Tears welled in Jace's eyes. Then. I'll show up every day until I'm enough. She took a deep breath. Okay. A pause, then, okay? She nodded. I'm not saying everything's fixed. But I see you, Jace. And I know love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the staying. He pulled her into a hug, burying his face in her neck. She held him tightly, and this time, she didn't let go. First, later that night, as the rain eased and the city dried, Jace sat on the edge of their bed with a notebook. He scribbled lyrics, fragments, promises. Not to Luna. Not to the past. To Harper. To now, asterisk, not every fire ends in ashes, some just burn into light, and when I lost the sky you stayed, my constant, my fight. Asterisk, he smiled through the tears. For the first time in a long time, the melody wasn't haunted. It was hope, and hope, he realized, was what love demanded most. Chapter 7. The world always listened louder when Jace Carter released a new song. That was the weight of fame. People weren't just interested in the music. They were waiting for a confession. The single dropped at midnight with no announcement, no marketing build-up. Just a link posted to his socials with 3 words asterisk asterisk, this one's real. Within hours, it trended globally. The song was stripped down, piano, raw vocals, no heavy production. Just honesty. It didn't sound like a chart-topper. It sounded like an apology, and everyone knew who it was for. Asterisk asterisk, Luna asterisk asterisk sat cross-legged on her balcony, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. The night was still, the city beneath her glowing like embers. She had headphones in, she hadn't planned to listen. But curiosity was a stubborn thing, and hope was worse. Jace's voice filled her ears, hushed and trembling. The lyrics weren't angry. They weren't bitter. They were grateful. You were the start of the song I now sing, the verse I never forgot, but some melodies change, and the truest love is the one that stays, when the others do not. Asterisk, Luna's breath hitched. The song wasn't about getting her back. It was about letting her go. She let the tears fall, slow and silent. Not because it hurt, but because it finally didn't.
Across the city, Harper listened from their bedroom, phone resting beside her on the pillow, screen glowing faintly in the dark. She had read the comments. Some fans called it closure. Others called it a love letter, but Harper knew what it really was. It was proof that Jace understood the difference between nostalgia and love, between what shaped him and what saved him. She turned off the phone and rolled over just as Jace came in from the studio, smelling faintly of cedar. And Rain, you heard it? He asked quietly. I did. He sat beside her on the bed. Did I say too much? She met his eyes. No. You said what needed to be said. He reached for her hand, and she didn't pull away. You okay? He asked. Harper smiled softly. I think, for the first time in a long time, I am. The next morning, Luna uploaded a video to no makeup. No filters. Just her and a guitar. She didn't explain, didn't caption it. She just played a new song, one that no one had ever heard before. It was gentle. Honest. A little sad. But not shattered. Asterisk, some hearts break quietly so others can beat strong, and some of us must lose the boy to help the man belong. Asterisk, she ended with a smile that didn't tremble, and for the first time, fans didn't ask who it was about, they just listened, because the story wasn't about rivalry. It was about love in all its shapes. Some love burned fast, some love stayed, and some love knew exactly when to let go. Chapter 8, it began with a sunrise, not a metaphor, not a song lyric. Just a real one, soft, golden, and unbothered by the chaos of the world beneath it. Jace stood barefoot on the balcony of his home. A mug of coffee warming his hands. Harper leaned against the doorframe behind him, her robe loose, hair a sleepy tangle. She watched him for a moment before stepping into the quiet. Didn't think you'd be up this early, she said. He smiled without turning. Didn't sleep much. Still thinking about the song? He shook his head. No. For once, I'm not thinking about the past. She stepped beside him, taking the mug from his hands and sipping. He didn't mind. She always said coffee tasted better when it wasn't hers. The silence between them was comfortable now. No longer filled with the weight of what hadn't been said. Just room for healing, for choosing, for trying. I think we should take a break, she said softly. Jace tensed, but she reached for his hand quickly. Not from each other. From this. She gestured to the world. The noise. The cameras. The headlines. Let's disappear for a while. Just be two people who love each other. Jace exhaled. You'd leave it all? I'd leave anything to find peace with you. He turned to her, eyes steady. Then let's go. Asterisk asterisk 3 months later asterisk asterisk, the world had moved on. Luna's acoustic album, written and recorded in a cabin in France, became her most critically acclaimed project yet. She never named names, never needed to. But her fans could feel the honesty. The healing. She attended a charity gala alone, wearing silver instead of her signature gold. She smiled easily. She laughed more. The press still speculated, but Luna didn't flinch. She knew exactly who she was now, and she was whole. Meanwhile, Jace and Harper were spotted in a quiet seaside town on the Amalfi coast, barefoot in sandals, no security in sight. Locals said they rented a cottage with no Wi-Fi, no press, and no plan. They swam in cold water, they ate too much gelato, they danced on cobblestones to street musicians at midnight, and one morning, Harper woke up to a song playing softly on an old radio, one she didn't recognize. Jace sat at the window, scribbling lyrics into a notebook with a pencil, humming to himself. When she walked over and read a line, she smiled. Asterisk, not every love is loud, some are quiet, and last longer. Asterisk, she kissed the top of his head at that. Was their love now? Gentle. Chosen. Quiet. Asterisk asterisk back home asterisk asterisk, the tabloids slowed. The triangle headlines faded. No one was watching like before, but none of them needed the spotlight anymore. They had found something better. Asterisk asterisk sunrise. Peace. And the kind of love that doesn't just survive, it stays. Asterisk 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 the end asterisk asterisk.